Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Pulp, where we keep you plugged into all things going on at ProCon. Today, we're getting into a topic that affects all of us, our payroll and benefits. So we're joined by Hannah Everard, our Payroll and Benefits Supervisor, to talk to us about some of the perks and programs that are easy to overlook. So whether it's help with tuition, getting money back for hitting the gym, or taking advantage of some of our mental health resources, ProCon's benefit package goes beyond what many of us typically think of on a day-to-day basis. So with that being stated, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Welcome, Hannah.
Hello.
Hello, I'm so glad to have you. Not like we see each other too often during the course of a regular day, right? To start off, we're going to talk about something that's referred to as the hidden paycheck. So as an employee, and not just a ProCon employee, but really any employee, our total compensation really is more than just our hourly rate or our salary. The company invests in all of our employees through a comprehensive benefits package that significantly increases the total compensation to what we just see from a salary standpoint. From a big picture standpoint, Hannah, what would you mean what do we mean when we say that your paycheck is bigger than you think?
Yeah, so employees a lot of times think of their paycheck as just what is going into their bank account, but in all reality, it's a much bigger picture. We, as ProCon, invest in your health, future, well-being through benefits like your health, dental, vision insurance, retirement contributions, your PTO, paid time off, and more. So essentially, when it all adds up, that can account for thousands up to tens of thousands of dollars each year on top of your net take-home pay.
So yeah, excellent. I mean, that's there's so many things that go into our checks, even things that we talk about often that we just take for granted that they're just there. Like we talk about company provided benefits. That's great that the company provides them, but the company does also have to pay for those.
Yes.
Some examples being our basic life insurance, right? Our short-term disability, our long-term disability, and those are only a few of the examples. Can you talk us through a little bit about what's included in the hidden value for things like insurance premiums, 401k match, and other employer contributions that employees might see on their checks?
Yeah, of course. So a good example is health insurance. That is probably the most expensive company-provided benefit that ProCon provides. An example would be if somebody is enrolled in our medical plan 3 as single coverage. The side that you see is you pay $26.86 per payroll. ProCon pays $207.84 per payroll. And you think we have 26 pay periods. So over the course of the year, ProCon is investing over $5,400 in just your medical insurance. And then you also have to think about the aspect that we provide that large HSA contribution. So the medical option 3 single coverage gets $850 a year from ProCon as well. So that's a large chunk of money for your medical and HSA. Then we also have our 401k match. ProCon provides 50 cents up to the dollar, 6% of your pay. So if you contribute 6%, we contribute 3%. So that's free money from ProCon that's going into your retirement savings.
100%. I mean, really good point on the medical contributions. Unfortunately, it typically employees become aware when they're no longer an employee, whether that's voluntarily or otherwise. But when employees leave the organization and are looking to continue their insurance coverage, they'll typically, if they're going to continue what they have through the company, elect COBRA coverage. And the cost of that COBRA coverage is simply just the cost of the insurance, but now the ex-employee pays the entire premium. And it's always some major sticker shock when those individuals see those numbers. I mean, it's an area of the paycheck that I think a lot of us just look past, myself included often enough. But it's a good thing to take a look at the employer contributions.
Yes.
And I mean, when you take a look at what ProCon pays versus what an employee pays for those coverages, it is different for the different levels we have, but most of them are a 70-30, 75-25 split with the company taking on the majority of that. And also, always good to point out that 401k match, and I hope everybody that listens takes advantage of that. All right, so how can employees see this information for themselves? Where can they find this stuff?
Sure. So a great place to see actual dollar amounts every payroll would be on your pay stub. So we have our UKG pay stubs, and on the right-hand side, there's a portion that's called company paid benefits. That's where a snapshot shows each benefit that you would be enrolled in and that ProCon is contributing to. It has the per payroll dollar amount along with the year-to-date dollar amount. So that's a good area to look at. For a big picture amount, it would be your total compensation statement, and that's found in UKG. And you would go in your app or on your browser, top left corner, there's 3 lines. It's a menu. You would go down to My Pay, and it's right there. It says total compensation statement. It lists every benefit that you're enrolled in, even if you aren't paying towards it, and it has a dollar amount there. That's another good area to find your pay statement history as well. And just know, if you're feeling unsure about anything that we're talking about, don't hesitate to come to HR or myself. We can explain any of this. We can help you with using the UKG app as well.
Yep. Yeah, don't hesitate to reach out to either or. If you happen to be asking the individual that isn't the best one for the answer, all they're going to do is point you in the right direction.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. So, having spoken about some of the hidden paycheck side of this stuff, let's get into some of the benefits that often go under the radar. I do have a little bit of a list here. I know we're cheating a little bit, but talk us through some of our more underused benefits. I think the first one on the list is Proximal,
Yes.
which we spoke a little bit about in an earlier podcast in episode 12.
Yes. So Proximal is one of our newest benefits that we implemented last year. So that's why we're kind of trying to talk about it quite a bit, teach employees what it is and try to get utilization out of it. So Proximal is a benefit that is included in your medical insurance. So ProCon pays the entire premium. So that's another hidden paycheck item. Yep. And it essentially tries to help you find the top doctors for complex care. When you use one of the designated physicians for a covered event, Proximal will pay you a cash benefit check right into your direct deposit, either $300 or $1,500, depending on the doctor you choose.
Yeah. And complex care is complex care.
Yeah.
But with that said, it never hurts to ask the question. I'm a man, so it's really not my place to speak about pregnancy, right?
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have assumed that a pregnancy was complex care.
Yeah.
But it is. So I mean, had I been pregnant, I wouldn't have thought to ask that question. But it's a great benefit.
Yes, yes.
And I hope that everybody takes advantage of it. It's also free money.
Yep,
right?
exactly.
Yeah. Okay, moving on from Proximal, we also have our employee assistance program.
Yes.
That we see some of those usage numbers, but a lot of the rest of the organization, unless they're using it.
Yep.
That's why we're bringing it up. Let's remind everybody what that is, Hannah.
Sure. So Employee Assistant Program, or we may call it our EAP, is a mental health, financial counseling, legal help system that employees can reach out to, and they can help with those things. So it's 100% free to the employees and their immediate family members, which is nice. They can help with depression, anxiety, stress, relationship problems, grief and loss, alcohol or substance abuse, anger management, and work-related pressure. And there are a few more. The people behind the phones are always licensed counselors, so you're not just talking to a random person. Totally confidential. So if you would come and say, can I have a EAP card? Obviously, we'll know that you may be calling them. But other than that, nobody knows that you called. ProCon.
Also, from the confidentiality standpoint, it's also something that exists outside of that permanent medical record.
Yes,
A lot of times, individuals are very hesitant to seek mental help where I'm going to say they shouldn't be.
Yes.
Right? But some people are. And part of the stigma that they attach to it is they don't want having those discussions
Yes.
to be in their record and follow them around. This is completely separate from
Yes,
that.
yes.
And, I often speak to our EAP program during our open enrollment meetings and such, but in a wider platform like this, I'm happy to share. I've used our EAP myself. Unfortunately, I've lost some family members earlier than I think I should have, and the EAP line was there for me in both those cases. I'll point out that while Hannah states it's licensed counselors on the other side of the phone, it's not limited to the phone.
Yeah.
That initial
Yes, for sure.
initial reach out is a phone call, but from there they will refer you to an in-person counselor if that's what's appropriate. Up to 5 visits. Now, I will state just for the record that once you exhaust those visits, at that point, if you wanted to continue, that's where you would kick in our insurance and
yes.
continue on from there. But again, just a great program. I've used it myself. I can't recommend it enough. And again, hope everyone takes advantage of it. Moving right down that list, let's talk about our fitness reimbursement program. Hannah?
Sure. So we do have our fitness reimbursement. ProCon will reimburse up to $200 per year for approved types of fitness or gym expenses. So it doesn't only have to be gyms. It can be fitness classes or virtual programs and apps like Peloton. It also covers at-home gym expenses. So if you're trying to create that at-home experience because you don't like being watched at the gym, it would cover like dumbbells, treadmills, exercise balls, etc. And then if you are looking to get reimbursed, all you have to do is submit your receipt with our gym and fitness reimbursement form to HR or Payroll, and it goes on your payroll.
And even though it's an overlooked benefit, it is absolutely the most popular of the
Yes.
overlooked
Yes.
benefits. Hannah mentioned a lot of our pre-approved items that if and when you take advantage of the fitness reimbursement, you'll get that document and form. It has all the pre-approved items on there. Also want to point out, it's not limited to those pre-approved
Yes.
items, right? If you have something that you are thinking of purchasing, have a discussion with your local HR. They'll bring it to our attention in corporate, and we'll either approve or deny. Worst thing that can happen is it gets denied, and we're not mean about it. Another just a caveat of it is that with if you are requesting something that's not on the list, it has to be something that requires physical activity.
Yes.
So a very commonly turned down item is, say, a Fitbit, tracking the steps. Great tool, but not approved.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, so those funds do not roll over from year to
Yes.
year. I encourage everyone to take advantage of the $200 credit on an annual basis. All right, and then of course we require safety shoes and uniforms, so we've got clothing reimbursement programs. Tell us a
Yes.
little bit about that, Hannah.
So ProCon loads $200 a year into your Eagle Graphics account. This one's different. This one does roll over year to year, so that's kind of nice. If you only use 150 one year, you'll have an extra 50.
Up to 1,000. If you get to
oh,
$1,000,
true, yes.
we cut you off.
Yes. And the Eagle Graphics store has approved clothing for your type of job. So you go on there and it'll have, certain colors based on where you work, or like more administrative people, you'd still have those options, but they may have more professional options for you. If you are looking to get onto your clothing store and you haven't, or you just forgot some of the login information, you can go to your HR rep and they'll be able to provide you with the website and your login.
Yep, 100%. I will also just state for the record, we implemented some dress code changes in Appleton in March, I believe,
Yeah.
of this past year. All of those changes will be implemented at all of our other divisions as of January of 2026. And I would anticipate there will probably be a podcast episode that will review some of those changes. Before we move on to our next segment, which has to do with myths or questions about benefits, I also want to just make brief mention of our tuition reimbursement program. That is another often overlooked benefit. We did speak to that specifically in episode 7, so we're not going to dedicate too much time to it during today's episode, but I do just want to remind everyone that has interest in continuing their education in a subject matter that relates to their career path with ProCon, please talk to your manager, your HR representative. Let us know what you are interested in taking. Again, it's one of those scenarios where it never hurts to ask, and the worst thing that can happen is a no, and it'll be a soft one. It'll be a soft one. All right. Anyhow, moving on from the tuition reimbursement and getting into those common myths and or questions about benefits. What would you say is one benefit people are the most surprised to find out we offer?
I would say it'll be the proximal again. I know that it's new, but every time we explain it, it seems that more and more employees really get it in their mind that we have it and that they could possibly use it. So like we kind of stated before, they cover the top rated doctors for certain serious conditions, with a possible direct payment of $1,500 if you use one of our covered physicians. Very easy to use. I plan on using it the end of this year. I am currently pregnant, if people didn't know. So, and like Bob said, that is a covered event. So I can look towards $1,500 towards my deductible. And it's just a great example of how our benefits go beyond basic coverage. We're trying to look for different ways for our employees to have better well-being in their personal lives.
One other thing to point out, we're talking about that 1,500,
Yes.
but I also want to state, so if you contact Proximal and they give you a list of doctors and you decide to use one that's not on that list, but you provide that doctor's name to Proximal, what is it, $300?
$300.
You still get a $300 payment. And that's that's the way that Proximal develops its
Yes.
lists of doctors.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind as well. Any common misconceptions that you hear about any of our benefits when you talk to employees, Hannah?
Yeah, so I would say it's an overall, employees think benefits are here for emergencies or when they really need them. But in truth, our benefits are here to support you in everyday life. So that's, the gym reimbursement, the EAP for counseling, maximizing your HSA. Your benefits aren't there for just when you have to go to the hospital or anything like that. They're bigger, broad coverage than outside of those emergencies. If you are uncertain if you would qualify for any of these benefits, certainly come by HR, also me, because we are able to tell employees what they are or are not eligible for. A lot of times that would be, our part-time employees because they would be qualified for certain benefits that we offer.
So I've been asking you questions here, and I've got more. They're going to come in a lightning round fashion. But before I get into that, Hannah, any talking points that you wanted to bring up to our audience?
Yeah, so I just want to say that employees, it's okay to come to HR. I know sometimes we may seem busy or whatever. Everybody in the company has things going on.
You don't have the corner marketed on business.
Yes, but no, we are always here to help. Sometimes we may just ask you to schedule an appointment so that we know you're showing up and we can possibly get documents ready for you or just have subjects ready to talk through so that we can best support you. So please come by HR, come by Payroll. We can assist you with questions.
Yeah. And that the request for an appointment is that is not because we ever feel inconvenienced by somebody stopping by. Yeah. It's so that we can make sure we have the time set aside to give the proper attention to what's being brought up.
Yep.
So, all right. Now it's time for that lightning round, Hannah. Okay. Just answer with the first thing that comes to mind. Our most underrated benefit.
Probably HSA.
Okay.
So a lot of people don't realize that HSA is tax-free. So goes in tax-free. It accrues tax-free. When you take it out, it's tax-free. You are eligible to enroll in that if you're in our medical 1, 2, or 3 plans. And some people utilize HSA as a supplemental retirement plan. So they will invest the funds, and then when they start to get closer to the retirement age, they can take it out tax-free, because when you get to that retirement age, health care can be a little bit more expensive.
Hey, where we have the opportunity to toot our own horn too, I'd like to do so. When it comes to the HSAs and our contributions, on a near annual basis, our own insurance brokers are like, you sure you want to keep giving all that money? But
Yeah.
it's important for us to make sure that our employees have that head start with these high deductible health plans. So, all right, next question. Hardest benefit to explain.
Accidental death and dismemberment, or AD&D. A lot of people think it's just life insurance. I get that comment all the time. It is in an aspect, but it's directly related to accidents. So if you would pass away due to an accident, or you would get dismembered, that sounds odd, but you lose a finger, a limb, lose hearing, sight, you would get a lump sum payment then. So if you would die because of an accident, your beneficiary would get a lump sum payment of what you were enrolled in for. And then if you would, lose a limb, sight, hearing, stuff like that, you directly would get a lump sum payment to try to assist with your medical bills.
Yeah, and while I certainly don't know them off the top of my head, like it's literally a particular dollar value for a thumb,
yes,
an index finger,
it is.
and right down the line.
Yes.
Okay. Best thing about your job, other than working across the hall from me, Hannah?
Oh,
don't suck up.
That's for sure the best part.
Yeah,
but
I'm sure it's the worst.
It's for sure being knowledgeable in our benefits. So a lot of people go day to day not knowing much about the benefits, where I have an in-depth explanation of every benefit we have. Obviously, I'm not an expert though. A lot of times I'll say, no, let's reach out to the actual representative for that company, just because I would hate to tell you something wrong. But it helps me know what to be enrolled in and to fully cover my family, so that when it's not just the emergency, but it's an everyday thing, I know I'm covered.
Yeah. Coffee or tea?
I would love to be a tea person, but coffee.
You have that fizz in there if you ever ask me the question. That's what's in this cup. Something that you wish you would have used sooner from a benefit standpoint?
I don't think that there's a specific benefit. It's more or less I just try to make sure I'm utilizing our benefit package every year, so that it's the clothing, the fitness reimbursement, just making sure I am maximizing the benefits that ProCon offers every year.
All right. Well, we're approaching the close of the episode here, Hannah. Is there any last bit of advice that you might want to leave our listeners to when it comes to their benefits?
Yeah, so it's essentially don't leave value on the table. We offer a lot. If you feel you're undercovered, certainly come. We can look through all of our benefits and see where maybe you should be enrolling to help you and your family. Open enrollment will be coming up, January benefit change will be coming up. So maybe
so quick.
I know. So maybe just take a better look at open enrollment this year, see what we cover, think, should I maybe enroll in this year? Is it worth it for our family? And yeah, always ask.
All right. Well, I want to thank you again for joining us, Hannah, and remind all of our listeners that whether they're lifting weights, going back to school, or just trying to take care of their own heads, there's a benefit in our package to support you. So if you're not sure where to start, as Hannah said, reach out, ask those questions. I do want to point out that we're going to be taking a brief summer break here. We'll have a week off in between this and the next episode. Next episode will be released on August 29th. And while we've got plenty of episode topics, we're always looking for idea generations. So if you've got any suggestions, please go ahead and send those along to thepulp@proconusa.com. And with that, until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and keep making ProCon great.